Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the corporate world without making you feel like you need a business degree to understand it. Get ready because today we are diving into a report from K.L.A Corporation that has some interesting boardroom shakeups and some very important shareholder votes. Before we jump in, if you like getting these clear, no nonsense breakdowns of company reports, hit that subscribe button. We also have a fantastic Discord community linked in the description where we chat about these things all the time. So what exactly is this filing all about? Think of it as a special report to let everyone know about important company news the moment it happens. K.L.A Corporation, a big player in the tech world, has just filed their own 8K to tell us about a few key developments. Alright, first up, there's been some housekeeping happening with the company's bylaws. Now, bylaws might sound a bit dry, but they are essentially the internal rulebook for how a company operates. The company board decided to update these rules. They have made changes to make sure everything is up to date with current legal interpretations and what is common practice in the market. This includes making it clearer and more detailed when shareholders want to nominate their own candidates for the board or bring up other business at shareholder meetings. They are also asking for more information from those proposing these things. Think of it as making the process of suggesting ideas or directors more official and transparent. They also updated rules about directors' offices and stock to match how the company is run today and made some other small but important tweaks to keep everything clear and modern. Now, for the really juicy part, the company held its annual shareholder meeting recently, and we've got the results. This is where shareholders get to voice their opinions and vote on important company matters. A whopping 89.64% of the shares were represented at this meeting, so a lot of people were paying attention. Three main things were voted on. First up was the election of the board of directors. These are the people in charge of guiding the company. 10 candidates were proposed by the board and shareholders voted to elect them. Looking at the voting results for these directors is super interesting. For names like Jason Conley, Tracy Embry, Jenny Ann Hanley, Victor Peng, Jamie Samath, and Richard Wallace, they received overwhelming support with well over 100 million votes for each of them. This shows strong confidence from shareholders in their direction. Some directors like Robert Calderoni and Kevin Kennedy also got substantial votes, but had a bit more opposition or abstentions compared to others. This might signal areas where shareholders want to see more focus, or perhaps more convincing strategic arguments in the future. For instance, Michael McMillan received over 105 million votes for and about 4.5 million against. While still a strong showing, the number of against votes is worth noting for insight into shareholder sentiment on specific director contributions or perhaps their compensation. Next up, shareholders voted on ratifying the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as the company's independent auditor for the upcoming fiscal year. This is a standard but crucial vote. The auditor's job is to check the company's financial statements to make sure they are accurate and fair. The results here are very clear. Over 110 million votes were in favour of keeping PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP on board with less than 7.5 million against. This is a strong endorsement and suggests shareholders are comfortable with their auditing work. The absence of broker non-votes in this specific proposal indicates that most shareholders who gave their brokers the power to vote did so on this matter. And the third proposal was about approving the compensation for the company's top executives. Now, this vote is advisory. This means shareholders are giving their opinion, but the board ultimately makes the final decision. Here we see a considerable number of votes in favour over 100 million, but also a significant number of against votes, close to 8.3 million. While the for votes still outweigh the against votes, the nearly 10% of shareholders voting against executive compensation is a strong signal. It means a segment of the shareholder base feels the pay packages for the top brass might not be fully aligned with company performance or shareholder interests. This is something the board will definitely take into account when setting future compensation. The over 8 million broker non-votes here suggest that while many shareholders cared about director elections and auditor appointments, some may not have provided specific instructions for executive compensation, leaving it to the broker's discretion or not voting on it. Beyond the annual meeting results, there is also a change in leadership within a key committee. Michael McMillan has stepped into the role of chair for the Compensation and Talent Committee. This committee is really important as it is directly involved in setting the pay and benefits for the company's top executives. Replacing Gary Moore in this role suggests a potential shift in how compensation strategies might be approached or focused going forward. And finally, some good news for shareholders. The board has declared a cash dividend of $1.90 per S-share. This will be paid out to shareholders who own stock by mid-November. This is a nice return for investors and usually signals that the company is financially healthy and confident about its future. This press release filed as an exhibit details that dividend declaration. It is a clear sign of the company's commitment to returning value to its shareholders. So let's put it all together. K.L.A Corporation has had a busy few days. They've updated their internal rulebook. held their shareholder meeting with strong support for most proposals, but a noticeable concern regarding executive compensation and their returning cash to shareholders through a dividend. The director elections passed with flying colours, showing broad shareholder trust in the current leadership. The auditor appointment was also overwhelmingly approved, which is standard practice. The executive compensation vote, however, is a clear signal that while the company is performing well enough to issue a good dividend, a portion of its owners feel the executive pay might be a bit out of sync. This is a classic case of shareholder activism in the form of a vote of no confidence on pay. Looking at the company's direction, the strong dividend and board re-elections suggest a stable and confident management team. However, the executive pay concern is a risk that could lead to further shareholder engagement, or even activism if not addressed thoughtfully. The company's ability to attract and retain top talent will depend on balancing competitive pay with shareholder value creation. The Bylaws update shows a commitment to good governance, which is always a positive sign. In conclusion, K.L.A Corporation appears to be on a solid footing financially, as evidenced by the dividend. The shareholder votes reflect a generally content investor base with the leadership and direction, but with a clear and specific area for improvement, particularly around how executive compensation is structured. It is a sign of a maturing company where shareholder voices are being heard, and the board is responding, even if it is just with a vote. Alright, that is our breakdown of K.L.A Corporation's filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think the executive compensation concerns are warranted? Or is it just shareholder noise? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.